If you're a business owner and you're thinking you want to sell your business someday, sooner or later, this message is all about selling your business for maximum value. My name's Kevin Murray. I'm the Business Seller Center. And the Business Seller Center represents a whole network of professionals that you're going to need before, during, and after it's time to transition and sell your business. You're going to need CPAs and attorneys, wealth advisory, banking, commercial real estate, maybe some digital marketing. All of these professionals you'll likely need before, during, or after this very important sale. So I have a great network of all these professionals in different markets with different specialties that are available to you to pull together this whole package. I'm a member of a number of groups and associations that keep me up to date on the latest trends in the industry for buying and selling businesses, mergers and acquisitions. The two biggest are the International Business Brokers Association and the M&A Source. I'm also a member here in Connecticut of the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce, and in my town I'm a member of the Cheshire Chamber of Commerce. So my belief is that an educated seller is going to be a better seller. They're going to be better prepared to negotiate with the buyers and strike a better deal and have a better financial outcome. So this process we're going to go through here are the steps that it takes from the time that we start working together, that you agree you're ready to go to market, and what we have to do to get to closing successfully for your business. So before we start with step one, I like to start at step 0, which is called "This is not your dad's business sale." And we're actually going to look at some of the big differences in the brokerage world and the M&A world over the last 10 to 20 years. Now the first thing is that a lot of cases we're doing a controlled auction, which is different than a traditional sale where you list your company for a certain, it's worth $5 million or $1 million and you go to market to sell your business. A controlled auction, we don't put a price on your business. Now we've already figured out the likely range of valuations for your company, so we have that in our back pocket. But this process allows the best buyers to come forward and determine what they'd like to pay. In a lot of cases, they're going to pay more than what you think you might want for your company. So this is generally going to work for deals valued at $2 million or greater, or your EBITDA, your adjusted earnings, is $400,000 or greater. For deals and valuations smaller than that, we'll probably just put a price on it. So we're going to talk about two different processes here, whether or not you meet that first hurdle. Another thing that's very different, everything we do is anonymous. We don't want people calling you at the office. We don't want them coming into the office. We don't want them talking to your customers, your suppliers, or your employees. So we run interference for you. We start doing that with an all anonymous marketing. So everything has to come through me, and we don't allow people to have access to you or your company until they've signed a non-disclosure agreement. Another big difference, obviously, we're using a lot of web tools and Zoom. Again, the idea is to minimize the wear and tear on you and your people. Instead of having a lot of people come in from around the region or out of state to visit your company and talk to you, we'll do as much as we can online and with Zoom calls. Another big difference, I do this for all my deals, is we're going to create a virtual data room. So old school, you might have to create banker's boxes full of all the pertinent files for the finance and operations and sales and marketing and your employees, and send that to the potential buyers so they can review the company. What we do now is create a very safe, very secure virtual data room that's password protected and encrypted. Only the people that have signed a non-disclosure agreement and that we've talked to and had initial conversations with will have access to that. But that way it's just we fill the room up once and it's good to go for everybody. So again, we're trying to minimize the wear and tear on you. So another big difference these days is there's more and more financial buyers. Where old school, you'd consider selling to your competitors, they were likely buyers. There's also strategic buyers. That could be a company, to use the HVAC example, maybe they're buying up 20, 30 HVAC companies around the Northeast and they want to grow to be $100 million in sales, and then they're going to go do an IPO. So that's a different kind of buyer that's out there. But the financial buyers are the hedge funds, the private equity groups. It could be a family office that has $100 million or $250 million that they're actively looking to invest. And instead of it just going into the market and stocks, they're buying businesses. So the reason for them to do that is that they can pay more and still get a great return. So let's talk about competitors might pay you 1.5 or 2 times your earnings. Strategic buyer might pay you a little bit more, 2.5, 3 times maybe. But if a financial buyer pays 5 times earnings for your business, that means they're going to get their money back in 5 years. That's a 20% return for them. That's a pretty good return that generally is going to outpace the market and make their investors happy. Another thing that happens with financial buyers is the investors into these funds usually have an agreement with the fund managers that they're going to give you their money for 5 years. Now you got to go invest it. If you don't invest it, we get it back. So that creates a little bit of extra pressure on these financial buyers to make purchase decisions. So there's a little more pressure in your favor as a seller to get these deals done. So that's going to help you buoy up your price a bit. Another big difference versus 20 years ago is we're doing videos all the time. People love consuming video. So in addition to creating a nice book about your business and some other marketing materials, we'll probably be creating some videos along the way. Another thing that we do all the time that's not how this used to get done, we try to bring your business in advance to a couple different banks or SBA lenders. The idea to get you pre-qualified so when the right buyer shows up, we've already got the financing figured out. The problem with not doing this is you get somebody that's looked at your business, they're a good buyer, they say they're going to pay your price. Now they say, well, now we got to go to the bank and get financing. That adds time. Part of my process in each of these different components is to shrink the process down, doing some smart systems and some good technology. So if we can take a week out here or 2 weeks out here, we can shrink the whole timeline down, which is better for everybody. So let me give you a quick illustration of a typical financed business purchase. So here's a business, we'll say that's worth $2 million. That's the agreed upon price. The down payment from the buyer is $200,000. The owner, the seller, is going to provide another $200,000 worth of financing. So the net amount will be covered by an SBA loan. That's $1.6 million. If we skip down to the total annual debt service for the buyer of $286,000, we compare that with their annual earnings of $600,000. That's part of how we got the value in this deal. Well, the business is actually going to pay for itself out of its future earnings from the buyer's perspective. So the buyer puts a little, 10% down, and then the business is paying for itself out of the earnings. So to show this to a buyer in the process is just really great that we've got this deal already put together. If they're credit qualified and operationally qualified to run this business, this just simplifies the process and again tightens up the timeline. So those are some of the major differences that we've seen over the last 20 years, 10 to 20 years in the M&A world. Now I want to just zip through the steps 1 through 6, and we're probably more than halfway there. Step 0 actually takes a bit of time. So the first step in this process is we do our document preparation, the marketing preparation. So this process begins when you say, yeah, I'm ready to sell the business. I want to go to market. The first step that we do together is we're going to create a custom national buyer database. Now you might have some ideas of people that would be decent buyers for your company, so we'll contact them. But we're going to create a database of all the financial buyers, the strategic buyers, probably some competitors. This could be hundreds or over 1,000 buyers that we're going to be reaching out to. So we're going to create that customized database for you. We're also going to create some customized marketing materials, which is this one-page anonymous blind teaser. We're going to create a big book, this confidential informational memorandum that could be 20, 30, 40 pages, depending on the complexity of your business. We're also going to put together 1 or more videos that'll help tell the story about your company to the potential buyers. So that's all the preparatory work. Step 2 is we launch the marketing campaign. Now in the marketing campaign, we take the materials that we've generated and we send out that one-page blind anonymous teaser to hundreds or thousands of potential buyers. We also make a listing for your company. We put it up on all the major business broker portals and websites. So there's a whole bunch of those. So there's a tremendous amount of coverage. All the buyers out there are scanning these websites every day looking for businesses that meet their criteria. So this is going to get your business in front of a lot of people. The result of this process is that people are going to be in touch with me and say, hey, this looks interesting. I want to know more. So at that point, we have them sign the non-disclosure agreement, and then we can start sharing a little more information with them. Once we've started receiving the non-disclosure agreements from potential buyers, the next step is we send them the book, we send them the videos, we start to provide some more information to them. Now here's where we go in two different paths. If it's a price on the business that we've announced publicly, we're selling your business for $1 million, at that point we can start having direct conversations with them and answer their questions and start trying to solicit a bid or an offer from those buyers. If it's the controlled auction, what we're going to be asking people for is a preliminary bid, subject to seeing more information. So with the book and the videos and the information we provide, we're going to ask the initial group of buyers who would like to bid on the company, and we have a timeline for that. So this is really exciting because the result here is that we're going to get bids in, we're going to rank them and decide who we want to talk to, because not all bids are going to be good enough. Some people are going to lowball it. There's also going to be some bids where they don't have the financing. I'd rather talk with somebody that's got financing if the price is the same. They're going to talk about their time to close. That's important because if it's a business like a hedge fund and they bought 20 businesses, they know they can close more rapidly than somebody who's buying a business for the first time. So we're going to help you rank the various offers and decide who we're going to talk to. And that's our next step. So step 4 is we're going to rank these and we're going to set up a series of management meeting calls between the buyer team and your team, and I'll be in the middle facilitating that. At this point, we're going to start giving people access to the data room. So in the virtual data room, they're going to get just tons of information. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty here, but it's way more detail than can be found in the sim or in the book. At the end of the process of the various initial bidders looking at your business and digging into the data room, we're going to solicit from them letters of intent. And this is a much more formal offer, but it's got more conditions on it, that they're going to offer so much money, or they're going to give you some of their stock, or they're going to do it over time, or they're going to ask you to stay around for a little while. One of the biggest conditions of this is that they're usually exclusive. So what that means is, let's say you get 5 offers in, you pick the 1 or 2 that you like the best, and we negotiate the terms, but you have to select one of those, and that company gets an exclusive look at your business. They get to do the final stage of due diligence, and we're not going to be entertaining other offers. So this is kind of like giving somebody an exclusive when they put an offer on your house. That you've accepted the offer subject to them doing a home inspection and finishing up their mortgage financing, for example. So letter of intent is a very serious offer. We have to do a good job of negotiating this for you and picking the best offer, which isn't necessarily the biggest offer, could be the quality of the buyer as well. So this starts step 5, which is the confirmatory due diligence, where the company is going to do, the potential buyer is doing a way deeper dive. They might be looking at your bank statements, not just financial statements. They might want to look at your data processing for how you do invoicing and orders come in and out. They're going to do a deeper dive into the legal foundations of the business, from how you got started, your contracts with your employees, suppliers, your vendors, your customers, all kinds of legal issues that they need to be satisfied with. And they're going to also do an operational deep dive to understand how your business works, how well you do all the things that you do. Now, the good news is if we get through this stage and there's no real hiccups, we've represented accurately to the buyer what kind of company you are, the quality and the repeatability of the earnings, and they have a good sense of your business matches up with what they thought. Well, now we're ready to go to closing. So we show up and celebrate. So that's, again, a thumbnail, quick sketch of the 6 steps that are involved in taking your business to market and successfully selling it. We've also talked about some of the things that are different these days than historical business brokerage practices. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you want to have a conversation, you have specific questions about the process, or you want to talk about exit preparation, how do you get ready? What happens before this? Let's have that conversation too. Thank you very much.